Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
How are you beautiful divine beings of light doing? How's everybody feeling? We are so overjoyed, so humbled, so excited to share this transmission with you. For those of you who are watching us live, you guys are in for such a treat. This is one of the best videos that we've been most excited to make in our history of making videos.
We're going to share a very, very powerful experience we had this past weekend with Metatron that we cannot wait to share with you all.
We're just going to give it a few more minutes for more people to join. Let us know where you're joining in from, what part of the world.
And I'm so excited that I brought my Metatron t-shirt today for you all, because this is the story of creation described in one sacred geometry.
I love that. I love that. Yes, we are so happy to connect with you guys too. So without giving too much away, we're waiting for a few more people to join so we get started. We had a very powerful encounter with Metatron just this last Saturday. And our whole intention is to just sit here and share these codes raw, unfiltered, uncensored with you guys because of how much power, humility, emotion, and codes, like Christed codes, these carry. So we are very humbled by our experience as well. And just wanted to share this with you. And I just wanted to say, for those of you who are coming in new, for those of you who are brand new to our vortex, my name is EldoRA. This is my beautiful partner, Siman. Siman and I have been on quite a wild ride. We met 11 years ago in 2013. And since then, we've just been on this massive ascension tunnel. And right now, you guys, shit's getting real. It literally feels like everything we have prepared for, we've been preparing for, the angels have been preparing us for, as wayshowers of the ascension, are literally, everything's just amplifying. It feels like the galactic cycle of 1 billion years is coming to completion and a new era is beginning, and we are therefore being prepared for the metamorphosis that many of us are going to go through now, from the human to the galactic being. And until now, we said these things very lightly, like, oh, human to galactic, okay, great. But now it's getting really real. What is this human turning into? And that's the information we're sharing in today's video.
Yeah, our intention is to share our experience of ascension as raw, as unfiltered as possible, because some of these truths that we're sharing may not resonate with everyone. It really depends on what level, what stage of your journey you're in. And if you have any kind of doubts about how the ascension process works, or are all of these experiences with angels real, you may not, if you're at that level of consciousness where you still have doubt about angels and things that you cannot see, then you may not resonate with these things. But in our world and in the world of many of our students, these are everyday experiences that we wanted to share, and our intention is to literally show you guys that the path, because EldoRA and I are here as wayshowers. We're here to pave the way for humanity and to connect the dots and to share these breadcrumbs with you guys. And our biggest intention is to help humanity ascend. That is our main sole purpose. And to that effect, we are ascension teachers. We have a school called the New Earth Mystery School, where we not only share our teachings, but give you guys the exact path that every soul needs to take to make it from a 3D human, Homo sapien, to a 5D human consciousness and beyond, which is Homo galacticus. And what that really means in real authentic terms is that we're all becoming superhuman. We're all on a path to expand into a being that is no longer human. It is beyond human. And to be very honest, we're beginning to experience these things. That's why it is so exciting. So we wanted to share what's happening.
And guys, this is uncharted territory even for us. That is why we're so excited. We're humbled, we're blown fucked, we're excited, we're beyond excited. So I think, yeah, we'll get started. Hey, Serafina, nice to see you. Who else is here? Say hello.
First of all, let's give it up for EldoRA's beautiful hat. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it before. Show them the Ra child.
Oh, we designed this hat.
We actually both designed it together.
So this is a tribute to Ra, the sun god. And then Siman designed all of this sacred geometry on it, like you can see.
It's got the snake representing Divine Mother.
Yeah.
And it's got some sacred geometries.
And then below, Siman drew this, literally. It says Ra child, child of the sun.
It was my idea, but an artist drew it.
Yeah, so we both designed it and he's very proud of it. He's like, look at that hat and whatnot. So yeah, it is gorgeous. It's my favorite hat. Okay, so hey Saleha, so nice to see you. Okay, you guys are gonna love this, okay? So our regulars, especially those of you who've been with us for the last 4 years, this is going to be one of the best videos we've ever made because of how juicy it is. And this is also a video that took a little bit of effort in creating because we're like, holy shit, there's so much that has happened.
How do we even explain what just happened?
How do
it was
we
like
explain
so
this?
big.
And it takes a lot of leadership, a lot of intelligence, a lot of mastery to even decode this, right, Siman? Like,
yeah.
We're like, how do we take this big energy and translate it into words?
And
honestly,
also, I have to say, you cannot explain the story if you're still in your ego because then it becomes an ego show. So we really have to. We've matured our ego to the level of humility that we can share these codes without any exaggeration or, you know.
And guys, honestly, as Siman was saying, have a very open mind when you listen to this video and know that this video is not meant for everyone. What we mean by that, just like most of our videos, but this one especially is, in the last 4-5 years since we've been channeling on YouTube, bringing in all these transmissions, we have prophesized many things that have come true. Many, many, many things. And we've said some really bizarre things. We've shared the most bizarre experiences we've had, not just with Yeshua, not just with Metatron and Melchizedek and Archangel Michael, but also with like the white-winged feline collective of Sirius B, which is a lion consciousness, 6D Christ consciousness race that was introduced to us and given to us for our protection in 2021, was it? And right after they came in, we did the Merkaba masterclass, like they took us on an astral travel to their realm, to Sirius B with our Merkaba. So we've done some pretty out there stuff. We're not teachers for everyone. And what I mean by that is, if you are still resonating with the clutches of the matrix, the religion and mainstream news and mainstream society, and your consciousness has not yet hatched or evolved to a point where you can understand these codes, there's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with us. It just means that these videos are not right, they're not ready for you, and somewhere along the path in the future, they will appeal to you because every single one of us has to go through this evolution. We have to go up the Jacob's ladder of ascension. So for those of you who are not resonating, my recommendation, just so you don't get stuck in negative loops of karma and blame and whatnot, is to just leave this video. And this video is only for those of you who resonate with these topics about Metatron, about the story of creation, about something very, very deep Metatron shared with us about how there's a crack in the creation code that many of us are fixing, how Siman and I were used as planetary avatars in our ceremony on Saturday night. And we were asked to fix some of these defected D12 codings all the way from the throne of God. So this is pretty intense, pretty out there, but also pretty true stuff. And our intention is to share these codes with you as directly, as humbly, as raw, as authentic, without having to think, which is why I wanted to just say that this is not meant for everyone, but for those of you it's meant for, like you guys are just gonna love it and just soak up the codes, the galactic codes, because as we speak, our intention is to really show you guys what times we're living in, the uncharted era we're living in.
We're all going in this together. It's just unbelievable at times, even for us.
So how did it all start? This is the part that gets, so this is going to be a long video. It's probably going to be an hour and a half. So get yourself ready. If you guys were waiting for those shows with your healthy 5D popcorn, this is it. It might be an hour and a half, okay? So, because we're going to go slow, we want to cover all of it. So it all started, Merlin is salivating. Tecumseh, yes, nice to see you, Tecumseh. Okay. We're going to go slow because it's even tough for us to explain. Hey, everybody. Looks like we've got everyone in the house. Amazing. So as you guys know, Siman and I have been working with Metatron for the past 11 years. We had no idea who Metatron is. We were completely asleep. And as soon as we had our awakening in 2012, Metatron introduced himself to us as our mentor. And that's when our whole journey with him began. To cut a very, very long story short, everything that Metatron has taught us in the last 11 years as our mentor and he helped us heal our physical, emotional, spiritual, emotional body, we are now teaching as part of Healers Academy to our students. We're giving them the rites of passage to the Metatronic medbed and all kinds of technologies that he has taught us because we have learned, we are ascending, and now it is time for us to pass this on to our students who have now come forth and they are flying. Because our intention is to prepare you guys, the way showers of planet Earth. We deal with the masters, we work with the masters, And I just want to say every single one of you is a master if you choose that for yourself. Nobody else gets to say if you're a master or not. It's whether you feel you're a master or you feel you're not. Okay, so it's like we're here for everyone, but you have to believe in yourself first. So let's talk about how it all started. On this past Saturday, we had our Healers Academy Class 4. And because we're teaching Metatronic Healers Academy, and by the way, all of you guys know our website. You can check any of this out. Anything we're talking about is on our website. So let me just get that out of the way. We're at www.nems.love, which is NEMS.love. And NEMS stands for New Earth Mystery School. .love, okay? So we finished our class, Healers Academy class, and this is the highest vibration container Siman and I have ever hosted. It's higher than anything, any House of Ra, any Glastonbury, anything. The students are like the real dedicated students. There's no absentees. Everyone's in the front row ready to become a master quantum healer.
And we're having breakthroughs after breakthroughs every single week and jumping the ascension ladder very fast right now. And our students.
Yes, it's like we're on this ascension tunnel and we're all in it together. And guys, hit the like button because that helps our algorithm. So don't forget to hit the like button. So in the last class, 3 couples shared with us, 3 ladies or rather shared with us that they were having trouble with their masculine counterpart. And these are the nicest, sweetest souls. They've been our students for several years. We know them well. They know us well. And they said, we're in such loving relationships and yet there is some kind of crazy disharmony between us and our masculine counterparts. And they were heartbroken. Some of them were even considering leaving. And it was very, very shocking, but also you can understand deeper. And if any of you
are you guys resonating with any discrepancies between the masculine and the feminine right now in your own personal life? Just comment and let us know, because we were shown like this is a theme that is being healed in the video. And in this video, we're going to show you how the crack between the masculine and the feminine goes all the way back to the original coding that came into this universe
deep,
from the throne of God. The crack is so deep, but the good news is we're now healing it and we're going all the way back to unity consciousness.
So let us know if you're having these issues with your partner. Many people are saying yes. And this is why. So definitely take this information back to your partner, maybe rewatch it with the partner. So let's start. So basically, we of course, we guided these beautiful couples and we said, treat your relationship like a mystery school. There was some coaching for the women, some coaching for the men. And through quantum healing, we're able to remove some of these blocks. However, quantum healing cannot remove a block if it's in the D12 coding. The D12 coding is the highest coding of the universe. It's the 12th dimension throne of God coding, and that's where this crack is, which is why this is all coming up, because we're clearing very deep, very powerful stuff. So that evening at 9 p.m. or so, Siman and I were going to bed, and we were asked to not close our Metatronic temple, which we keep open for class. So we kept it open and they said, just leave it open all night. The angels are going to work on you and give you guys healings, because we're very, very, very impressed. They were very impressed with the way we're teaching this class, and they were giving us a lot of praise and saying the amount of love and care we're really putting and channeling to empower our students is unheard of on the planet. They're saying, you guys are giving so many codes. You're not just teaching this curriculum, but you're making sure your students understand it from deep down. And they were giving us a standing ovation. And
also they were giving us a standing ovation for the level of embodiment that we're teaching this course with, because it's not just about teaching material that you memorize. The level of embodiment requires a certain level of discipline that EldoRA and I have now been implementing for the last 2 years or so, and it's really gone into a very high level of discipline that even is pushing us out of our comfort zone. So this ascension process requires a diet, it requires an exercise regimen, it requires a superfood regimen, it requires discipline in every single aspect of your life. You have to get your finances in order, you have to get your 3D paperwork in order, you have to get your business in order, your abundance in order. So basically it's like a 360-degree cleanup of your life, only then you can ascend.
Yes.
So it requires a lot of careful balance and mastery. And we've been very proud of our progress.
Insanely proud of our progress. So Metatron, over the course of a few hours, he was with us for till 4 or 5 a.m. and he was also with us the next day. I'll tell you all about it. He never comes for such long visits. This was actually one of our most unique encounters with Metatron, because until now, He's always come as our mentor, as our guide, or as Divine Father. This is the first time, guys, he came with a level of humility, not even humility, that's not the word, a level of vulnerability. Almost
He
like
came as a friend.
this is the
instead of a
first
teacher.
time in our history, in this lifetime, he came as a friend instead of a teacher. And Metatron is such a cool dude, you guys. Like the amount of depth this being has. Oh my God. So anyway, let's unpack it and we'll see if we can share some of those vibes with you. So Metatron said he basically gave us some very powerful things that we didn't know of. He said, we're going to talk about the creation process and the original idea behind why this universe was created. And the point of this whole experience, the point of this whole experiment that we call this universe. He talked about why couples are going through this dissonance right now and fighting, why there's this deep crack between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And in fact, with the feminine, with any masculine, divine or other, there's something major happening right now between men and women. And it's only going to solidify unless we understand this and heal it from the root. He also talked about how the emerald dragon consciousness is returning to Earth. I'm going to say that again. This is all new information even for us. That's why I'm wearing this. I needed something green. And so my higher self said, wear this. The emerald dragon consciousness is returning to planet Earth. And Siman and I, amongst others, I'm sure, but Siman and I play a very major part in all of this. So before we even start Metatron's journey with us, I want to give you a bit of preface as to where we're going with this galactic story of creation. So a few months ago, Siman and I were told, and I'm going to just give you the facts as they're coming in. But Siman and I were told that we are at a very major part of our ascension where we are ready to activate our embodiment, our Christed embodiment. We've known this for 11 years, but we didn't know how it's going to play out. And we've always known that we have a major part, but now it's time. That's how they're showing it to us. So what they said to us was that there is something that we're both going through called an immortality process, right, Siman? Like for lack of better word.
Immortality, the embodiment of our immortal DNA.
Yes.
That's the best way I can put it.
And they also said that we've been immortals in Atlantis and Lemuria in Egypt. And so what are immortals? Immortals are those who pretty much are here to live on this planet for several thousands of years. I know it sounds bizarre, ballistic. We didn't know this about ourselves.
But it's already happened in the past. It's not unprecedented on Earth.
Yes.
Ascended masters have walked this planet who've lived for thousands of years in Atlantis. And some ascended races like the tall golden race in Atlantis 25,000 years ago had lifespans of 20,000 years. So a couple thousand years in ascended beings is like nothing.
So what we were told, to cut a very long story short, is that Siman and I were told to do something called an embodiment ceremony. So first we were given this news that we are immortals and that we have come with a soul contract to live on this planet for 2,000 to 3,000 years. Not just to live on this planet because it is a planet that requires us, but it's the other way around. We both have chosen that in this entire galaxy we can live anywhere. After ascension, you can pretty much go live anywhere, right? But we were told that we have chosen planet Earth not just for this incarnation, but to settle down here and operate from here and return it to the Christed Garden of Eden it once was, and to reestablish on planet Earth the exact replica, the exact mirror of the Godhead, of the throne of God on planet Earth. And that's our divine mission. We've always known our divine mission is very big. Like we do House of Ra Ascension Festival. We do Healers Academy, which is the Metatronic Quantum Healing Certification. We have the New Earth Mystery School. So we're doing like a lot more than even we thought we'd ever do. But now we're realizing that our fundamental divine mission is to anchor Christ consciousness within ourselves and to birth this emerald dragon consciousness. This is what's getting me the most excited. Emerald dragon consciousness. And you guys will know why it's so exciting as I keep talking. So anyway, they told us we have this D12 coding and that we're from the throne of God. We're from first source. And the reason this is, and many of you who have this dragon energy or this attraction to dragon energy might also be from the same realm, from the throne of God.
Or from the same soul family of the dragon lineage. The dragon lineage is actually one of the highest manifest beings in the created universe.
I love what Julie says. I'm here to witness the victory of the light. Yes, and be part of it. This is huge. So what we're being shown, so if you resonate with the dragon, emerald dragon consciousness, it just means that even if you're like not, there's a spectrum of it. You might be on the higher echelons of that consciousness and about to ascend, or you might still be on your way up. And with vortexes like us and teachers like us, you can actually ascend very fast, because our specialty is that we can take anybody with an open heart to learn and move them very quick to the top. Unlike a lot of schools where you have to go really slow and slow, we go very, very fast, and our students go very fast. So, and we were also told that this is a lifetime of karmic grace, and that this is going to be the lifetime where Siman and I are rewarded for all of our lifetimes of pain. And I won't get into this story too much, but there was a very, very crazy story that was told to us in the last ceremony that about Yeshua. They said Yeshua was never the sacrificial lamb. They said Akhenaten was the sacrificial lamb, and Siman had incarnated in ancient Egypt as Akhenaten, who was really a very high initiate under the mystery school of Isis, Anubis, Ra, and whatnot, the Egyptian mystery school. And I was Nefertiti, Queen Nefertiti of Egypt. And both of us were initiates into these orders of Melchizedek and Sisterhood of the Rose. And we worked with Ra, we worked with the law of one to spread the love of peace and, love and unity consciousness and the ways of the sun god Ra. And we were against idol worship, and it wasn't time yet for our light. And so what happened was we were overthrown in Egypt. Siman and I were separated. I was sent away. He sent me with some of his sentinels or whatever. I was saved, and he was brutally mutilated. His body was mutilated as an example for everybody to see what would happen.
She means Akhenaten was mutilated in my past life,
in Egypt. So they said that the heavens owe us a debt. This is all new information. They said the heavens owe you a big debt because of your sacrifice. And so Siman went up, and they said that the Hathors literally put him on this, they showed us all these visions when...
They took me to the Temple of Healing in Sirius B, and they placed all the body parts of Akhenaten in the middle of the temple, in the middle of the Hathor Temple of Healing. And the Hathors, which are a very ascended race from Venus, they're sound healers. But they're not just like Earth level sound healers. Their level of sound healing can like put a dismembered body together. And when they started singing, it slowly started healing the body parts. And I asked, why were they putting the dismembered body parts of Akhenaten back together rather than just discarding the body and giving Akhenaten's soul a new life? They said if they discarded the body, all of the codes of that torture and that lifetime would take a back seat in the DNA. But they wanted that code of that torture and those painful memories to be very present within the DNA, because for some reason that code is very important to my ascension as well as the ascension of humanity. They didn't want those memories to be lost no matter how painful. So the Hathor healing brought Akhenaten back together in the higher dimensions in his light body. It was in the 6th dimension in Sirius B. And from there, Akhenaten became a new being. He was born anew, but he was not born again as Akhenaten. He was born again as me, as my higher self. And he took the form of a black puma. I'm just going to speak it raw, as it's shown to us. So when Akhenaten was reborn in Sirius B, he was no longer Akhenaten. He was born as a baby black puma. And that baby black puma was a being of very high consciousness. And that black puma went on a 25,000-year journey through all the mystery schools of this universe. So if you consider this Metatron's cube the universe, he went through all the levels of initiation in the Metatron's cube in the higher dimensions, and then he brought back this knowledge in my current incarnation now. So right now, I'm slowly beginning to remember everything that happened to me in the higher dimensions in the last 25,000 years. And those stories are going to start coming back in our YouTube channel, because in my DNA is the history of the entire universe. And while I was gone for 25,000 years, only 3,000 years expired on planet Earth. It's not the same time in the higher dimensions and the lower dimensions.
And tell them how I was here on the planet.
So while I was going through my initiations in the universe, EldoRA was going through her initiations on Earth.
And we were separated. It was a very painful incarnation in Egypt when we were separated. We were madly in love. Siman's daughter was brutally murdered with him, in front of him. I was separated. So it was a very, very painful time. And when Yeshua was here, what we were told also is that when Jesus was here, Siman was in the higher realms getting his ascension training, his galactic training. And I was here on planet Earth going deep into karma to really understand all the codes of Earth, so that in this lifetime when we would meet, he would come. Literally, you know what God said? You know what Metatron said, Source said in our last ceremony? He said, Akhenaten, Siman, we owe you and EldoRA a debt because of the immense sacrifice. Because he said when you went to Earth as Akhenaten and you were mutilated and tortured, you chose to go back to Earth. And in a way, he chose to come back because of me. Because I was so lost in Earth's karma that he's now come as a bridge. Literally, he's like a bridge. He's come from the heavens. We're both from the throne of God. I've gone deep down. He's gone up. He's now come up from the higher realms. He's got all his galactic training. I was stuck deep in the matrix. I was completely asleep. And now I have risen here. So tell them how this works.
So basically the way it works
exciting.
is EldoRA was an ascended being in Egypt in the time of Akhenaten. As Nefertiti, EldoRA was an ascended being. She was walking the planet as a fully embodied ascended master, and I was walking as Akhenaten fully embodied. Out of her unconditional love, her soul chose to take a dive for humanity, chose to go in deep into forgetfulness, because most of the ascended masters after the fall of Egypt left planet Earth. They could not stand all the negativity and the wars and all the kind of crazy things that were about to happen here. So they left planet Earth. But very few ascended masters chose to stay on, and I want you to understand the gravity of this. Very few ascended masters had the level of love for humanity that they made the biggest sacrifice. Even I think her sacrifice was bigger than mine, because I was mutilated once. She, for the next 3,000 years, chose many lifetimes where she had to go through torture and sacrifice and war and suffering and persecution, because she carried such a high amount of light that she knew she would be a target. So she had to go into a deep level of forgetfulness and take on human karma with the plan that during the times of Jesus, she would continue her trainings with the higher dimensions. So in the time of Jesus, which was 1,000 years after the death of Nefertiti, she would go to the Giza pyramid, and then she would shoot her soul, her Ka light body, into the higher dimensions, into Sirius B. And from there, her soul would be initiated and upgraded.
No, where I would meet him.
Yeah, you would meet.
Because he was in the higher realms, I was on Earth.
We would meet in the higher dimensions,
Yeah.
and we would continue her initiations.
Yes.
And I would catch her up to everything that's happening in my end.
And the whole plan, to cut a long story short, was this particular incarnation where we would find each other in 2012. And then we were both in separate marriages. We left our marriages very quickly. We got together. We were told that we are here as pillars of some community. We're like, what community? We had no idea but we were prophesized. Everything was told to us 11 years ago. And everything has come true like magic. And right now we're being given the next steps, and that's what we're sharing with you. It's very, very activating. So listen with an open heart. Allow your DNA to absorb this. Don't let your mind take you into judgment or confusion or chaos or doubt or separation. Stay in unity consciousness, stay in love, because this is an invitation for every single one of you to absorb very deeply. This is a very important transmission.
And if you deny the enormity of this story, then you're denying the enormity of yourself, because
Yes.
all of us have this potential.
Yes.
And I also wanted to add that black puma that went into the higher dimensions, that was the black puma higher self of Akhenaten that walked into me. I had a walk-in experience in 2017 where I merged with the higher aspect of my soul, and my human consciousness was intertwined with a black cat consciousness from Sirius B. And since then, I've accelerated extremely fast, and many remembrance came forth. So I'm no longer who I used to be as a person. She's a direct witness of how much I've changed.
Completely.
And how many abilities have come online.
You know what
since
the
then.
biggest transformation he went through? Before, he was a very feminine man, and now he's a fucking masculine man. Like masculine.
Balanced. I wouldn't say masculine. I would say balanced.
But you know why I say that? Because we women, many of you may relate, we women crave masculine men. Not the toxic masculine, but the divine masculine, but with the masculinity. And most men on this planet are too feminine. And that's the biggest, every girl I talk to is like, I don't know where all the masculine guys are. They're either toxic masculine or they're too feminine, divine feminine. Where are the divine masculine? So Siman was more like feminine, and after the walk-in, boom, his masculine, divine masculine activated. So anyway, we have a lot more to cover, so I'm going to keep the story going. So we did two embodiment ceremonies
over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're like on a very, very accelerated chamber right now, Ascension chamber. The first ceremony, we were told all of this information that I just shared with you, that we carry the DNA of the throne of God, we have the D12 coding, we're from first cause, and we've been placed on earth with a pre-coded soul contract that I would stay back here, Siman would come from the higher realms, it would be a cosmic love story, for the lack of a better word, and through our love, only for our love, Siman came back. That's how we look at it. He came back just for me.
And for both of our love of humanity. Of course, there's a soul plan for
It's a soul
everyone.
contract. And so now, because he's going to lift me, I'm going to lift humanity. Because he's too advanced for humanity. Like, a lot of people don't get him. Like, they're like... And also, what were they saying? They're saying it took 10 years for Siman and I to harmonize at this level.
Yeah.
So humanity is not ready yet to harmonize with this galactic being. So I'm the bridge. But I'll get to all of that in a second. So what they said was that we both are a bridge DNA for humanity. Okay, I'm going to give you all the pieces. We're a bridge DNA, and we are being watched and protected by the higher realms in a very, very close manner because of the enormous roles we play as the bridge DNA. We've been told that our DNA is priceless because we've got all the codes of Earth and all the codes of the ascension of the universe. So between us, we're like the exact bridge, the spiral that's going to help humanity ascend. Now, and only a handful of people on earth, literally, they said a handful of people on earth are going to go through what Siman and I are going through, and we don't know any of them. But
in the first wave, at least. In the second and third wave, a lot more will go through it.
Now, in the first ceremony, embodiment ceremony, something very interesting happened. We were not expecting this. We had never heard of anything as bizarre as this. But Metatron came in, not for such a long visit as the second ceremony, but I'll tell you that in a second. In the first ceremony, Metatron came in very briefly and gave both of us our space suits. He said, for you to continue your mission, you need to get your Syrian spacesuit and your Lyran spacesuit. Siman's body instantly accepted the Syrian spacesuit. It came on him just like a second skin. It was very quick. We don't need to go into the details of that because we have so much more to cover. My body rejected my Lyran spacesuit. It couldn't come on me for some reason.
Because your DNA has to be ready to accept that higher... The spacesuit is like a etheric higher dimensional light body activation, but it looks like an armor plate, it looks like a chest plate, it has legs, it has all different components.
It has a breastplate, a face
but
plate,
it's part
a
of your
helmet.
light body, so it also has remembrance of your Lyran past lives. So when you get that spacesuit, like when I did, I remembered everything that happened in Sirius B.
And that's when he got this whole story.
That's when I got the stories. And every week more stories are coming online.
And these stories are not like channelings where he has to write or channel.
It's not a channeling.
It's just
it's a remembrance. It's in my DNA.
Like when he started telling me the whole story the next day of the ceremony of how he was a sacrificial lamb and all of that, Siman and I were crying for like 4 hours.
It came with all the emotions, like bawling. It just happened.
We were bawling, sitting on our rooftop, and we took 3 days to process all of this information. Now we've processed everything. You guys with me so far?
Is it wild yet? Because it's about to get wilder.
It's about to get even wilder. So then what happened was my body rejected my Lyran spacesuit, and wasn't a big deal. Metatron just said, EldoRA and Siman, we want you guys to start a 7-day liquid fast as of right now, and we will try the spacesuit again in the next ceremony. So we did that. We did a 7-day liquid fast, and it went really well. It was easy for us because we've purified our body so much that we don't crave food. We're not addicted to food because of ego. And they said, and that was when they showed us all these visions and all of that. Anyway, now let's go to the second ceremony. So the second ceremony we did this Saturday right after the Metatronic Healers class. And we had a very, very, very profound visit from Metatron, one of the most profound visits we've ever had.
And Metatron just doesn't descend every day. When he comes, it's a special occasion and it's a time to celebrate something. So we knew something was up.
Kimberly, love you too, Shell. It's so nice to see you. Okay, so Metatron explained that my body rejected my Lyran spacesuit for 2 reasons. The first reason I didn't know any of this because Siman and I are very close. We hardly ever fight. We've balanced our relationship and we're very smooth sailing because we couldn't do this divine mission if we were still in the karmic traps of karma. So he said the first reason your body is rejecting this spacesuit is because there's a deep level of distrust with the masculine, and that runs so deep, not just in you, EldoRA, but in the entire feminine collective of planet Earth. So every single one of you watching. He said this runs deep in the DNA coding because there's a flaw in the coding from the 9th dimension down. Okay, so the Godhead is intact, and we're going to show you a diagram to explain all of this. So what he said was many of us are unconscious of this divide between the masculine and feminine, and we're coming to what they call it like a glass ceiling, where we're not going to be able to ascend out of this unless one of us cracks the code, which Siman and I just did. Once one of us cracks the code and heals this divide from the DNA level, the D9 coding level, the dimension 9 coding level, very soon humanity can catch up. And until then, there is absolutely no chance of men and women working together harmoniously, is what we were told. Now, the second reason, and I'm going to get into it in a little bit more, but this is more important. The second reason, and there's a deep message for every single one of you watching. My intention is that you guys have a breakthrough of all breakthroughs listening to this information. Because everything we do, you guys, Siman and I, whether it's House of Ra or Healers Academy, it's really coming to us now very clearly, is to be that bridge between where you are and the throne of God. It is really to create that pathway in your DNA, in your light body, in your entire like galactic higher chakras to very quickly move through. And that's my intention for the code I'm about to share with you.
And this is what Yeshua was teaching humanity as well. He said, eventually all of humanity is going to merge back with the Godhead. And this is what exactly the process we're going through and what we're describing.
Are you guys excited or what? Like, can you imagine that once we or any of us start going through it, boom, guess what's going to happen? All of us are going to start going through it. That's we are in legendary times. We are in historic times. We are
biblical
in
times.
Biblical times, uncharted times, unprecedented times, revolutionary times, and what we are becoming, and I'm going to talk about the Emerald Dragon consciousness in a few minutes, but what we're becoming is literally, Metatron said to me, he said, EldoRA, you are Divine Mother 2.0. And I'm saying this to many of you. If you think Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene walked the path before us, they're saying what we're about to become is something that Mother Mary and Divine Mother are watching. They're like, the whole universe is watching. What are these humans going to become once they hatch?
We're about to become a completely new species,
yes.
Is what we're being told. No longer human.
Yes. So where were we? We left it off that they gave us two reasons why I rejected my spacesuit. The first one was this deep mistrust between the man and the woman, which even we were apparently holding without even realizing it, mainly because it is in the very coding at the 9th dimension, and therefore the entire universe from the 9th dimension to our dimension has this fundamental crack. Women cannot count on men. We cannot respect men. We are not happy with men at a deep level. And even though I have no blocks to the masculine, but this is very, very deep and it's very subconscious. The second thing we were shown is the code I want to give you guys, is that all of us at some level carry this very deep level of insecurity, mainly because of all the garbage conditioning inflicted upon us women. I'm going to just say it from my perspective of how your body is not beautiful. Like my own mother would tell me, oh, like your boobs are too big. Just because she had small boobs, she insulted my boobs. My boobs are not even big. They're fucking like a goddess. My point is, who are you to tell me my boobs are big? Or your nose is very fat. And my in-laws would always compare me to my sister-in-law, who was this skinny girl, and they worshipped how skinny she was, and they thought that was the ideal way for a woman to be: long hair, skinny boned, and I was very big boned and whatnot. So basically, self-worth, what we were shown, and this is the code of self-worth, it's a very powerful code that every one of you can get it right now. We carry this code of insecurity within our psyche, whether you're a man or a woman, and that insecurity can stem from a million factors. It could be because you think you're unintelligent. It could be because you feel you're not yet on the ascension path at the level you should be, or that your spouse is at, or whatever.
Or you're not worthy of God's love.
Like we have lots of insecurities. That's what our whole psyche is. And he said we all carry this whole level of subconscious shame that something's wrong with us and we're not where we're meant to be. And here's the kicker. Not just that we're not where we're meant to be, but unless and until we are something other than what we are right now, God won't accept us, or we can't ascend, or we're not worthy of our Lyran spacesuit, or we're not worthy of something like going to House of Ra. I was literally shown that many of you have this self-worth block. It's so freaking subconscious that you won't go to a high vibration event even though you know that it's going to accelerate you, or you won't go on that guidance that your guides are telling you because you feel you're not worthy. And here's what I was shown, and I'll tell you about it in a second, but what I was shown is that the only person, this was the code. So I was shown that I carry this insecurity too. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, your spacesuit cannot come on you until you have any kind of insecurity. Body shame, any kind of insecurity. I always thought that, like for example, like my son, it was a huge baby. So I have stretch marks and I have a little bit of a loose belly. So I always had this insecurity that until I fix my belly, until I tighten it, I cannot be on my ascension path of embodiment. And I never ever thought of this option which Metatron gave me. What if I accepted myself right now today as I am? But I'm asking you this, Sam. You're telling me I am beautiful exactly the way I am. And I'm asking you all with so much love. Have you truly accepted yourself exactly as you are? And are you, like, you can look at any part of your body. You can look at any part of your life. You can look at anything. Even if you're in the worst relationship, you are broke, and just say, I am worthy, I love myself, I am worth it, and I have my self-respect. That is the level that we need to be at. And all of this programming of our parents are like literally coming in the way.
And this society has taught us all that you're not okay as you are today. In order to be accepted, even in order for God to love you, you have to become something else that you are not. And that's what keeps humanity in endless loops, because chasing after that false illusion always keeps us away from the goal. It never keeps us in this now moment.
And you know, Siman and I were talking about how there are some people who look like a Vogue. Like we know somebody who doesn't live in Tulum anymore, but we knew of this girl. She looks really, really good, but she has an air of insecurity that you can smell from a mile away. This girl has like super long hair, always curled. Like she always wears dresses like she's a runway model. She wears the best clothes, but deeply rooted in insecurity. So what I'm trying to get at is it's got nothing to do with how you look. It's got nothing to do with how you dress, how rich you are. Insecurity is something in our psyche. That's how it was shown to me. So, and another thing Metatron said, he said, think of any girl on the planet, anybody on the planet who has the best body. Let's say she's made it. She's made an empire. She's in her best body. Don't be mistaken that she has cracked this code. Okay? Don't be mistaken she has cracked this code. What do I mean? Imagine if this person suddenly puts on 100 pounds and her body is not the same. She's going to crash. Guides are saying, Metatron is saying there's not enough humans on the planet. In fact, a handful, not even, who've truly accepted themselves as they are right now without giving a fuck how anyone perceives them. Full acceptance, full self-worth. I love and accept myself, and I'm worthy of my love and God's love today. As I am. I don't need to lose another 20 pounds to get my Lyran spacesuit. I don't need to tighten my belly before I get my spacesuit. I don't need to activate my intelligence. I don't need to make 30,000 a month. No excuses as of today. So this was a code, and we're going to go a lot more deeply. So this is the code, and I'm going to read this out word for word, because as soon as this was over, the next day Siman and I wrote a lot of these notes directly, because these are all going into our book. And we were also told that once we get our spacesuit, they're like, you'll write your book in 3 months. It's not going to take you 5 years like you thought. It's very, very quick once you embody. So guys, I'm going to read this directly from Metatron, so you may want to just absorb these words, the frequency of these words. This was the Christed code from Metatron, and he was speaking directly to me, but you can pretend he's speaking directly to you. Accept yourself completely as you are now, without having to change a thing. Your self-worth comes from your soul, not from your looks, not from the sacrifices you have made for others, not from how behind or ahead you are in your evolution, not for the skill set you bring to the table. Creator sees all beings as equal. And it is only humans that judge themselves and think they need to become a higher or a better version before they are accepted by the Creator. You are beautiful, you are worthy just as you are. All you have to do is accept yourself and watch miracles unfold. So that's really the quote that I got. And then it goes deeper. So now we're going to move into, so we were told that these are the 2 reasons why I wasn't able to get the spacesuit, and I had to go stand fully naked in front of the mirror, and I was laughing. I was laughing my eyes out because what Metatron did was he melted the programming of my mother, of my grandmother, of my in-laws, saying I'm big boned and whatnot. And I remember Siman went down to get us some coconut water, and I just went into the washroom and I was bawling because as soon as Metatron removed that negative programming, I was looking at my body thinking, how did I even think for a second that my body isn't like a goddess body?
How could you even judge this gorgeous body?
How could you even judge? Like, this is all the programming. Like, how could you think that your stretch marks are anything more than divine on your abdomen? How could you even think that you're not beautiful just exactly as you are? And these are not things I was conscious about. That's the best part. Consciously, I'm very confident, right? This is an internal thing that's embedded deep in our psyche.
It's generational.
So now we're going to move into, let's see where we're going to move into. We're going to move into the untold story of creation.
As told by Metatron.
And how it relates to Siman's and my role on the planet, and many of you are going to get activated just by listening to this. So Siman, over to you.
Okay.
You want to start with the diagram?
Yeah, let's go into the diagram.
Of course, Siman has a handy dandy diagram for you all.
So the next...
You guys love diagrams.
In the next stage of the ceremony, after we were shown all of these things, the curriculum for
and
embodiment...
there's a lot more. It's not even... There's so much more to share.
Yeah. So the next thing that Metatron did, he started explaining to us the creation story of this universe, and we'll show you how all of this connects back to our original story. So basically, let me see if this is a good visual.
Go in front. So
yeah. Okay. We'll go like this.
Okay.
You can hold it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hold it more like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So here.
You can use this to navigate.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
So this is creator, source prime creator, that represents the triangle and the eye. And below that, this is all the higher dimensions above creation, above the universe, which is called the void. And this is where what we know as source is the creator of all that is. And initially there was just void and this creator in an eternal state of sleep. Nothing had been created yet, not even the throne, not even the heavens, nothing. The first thing that was created was a sphere. When creator wanted to experience itself as another being, to understand more of itself, it created a sphere in the mystery schools of High Priest Melchizedek, in the mystery schools of the Sisterhood of the Rose. These are the most ancient mystery schools of this universe. It is told that the first creation was a sphere, and the sphere, which is the round shape, represents the mother or feminine consciousness. Now, feminine consciousness on its own is just untamed force of love. It is just creativity. All the qualities that women have, think of them, but in an untamed, very powerful, unleashed force that has no boundaries. It is beyond a being. It's not even a being, it's a force.
And what that means is that the feminine energy wasn't like mother, divine mother was an untamed force of energy, and she didn't know how to structure her ideas. You guys relate?
Yeah. So it's like an untamed force of creativity with no structure.
And she needed the masculine counterpart. She literally needed a masculine counterpart who knew logic, who knew science. And that's when Metatronic intelligence was birthed.
Yeah, so out of the circle, the second level that was created, no, this is fine. Out of the circle, the second level that was created was the square, and the square represents the father-son consciousness. So the mother and father both had to come together in order to birth creation. So logic and the laws of physics were merged with the laws of the divine feminine, which is creativity and love. And their merger, which is like God and goddess in the void making love with each other, created the Big Bang. What Stephen Hawking terms the Big Bang was actually God and goddess making love, and the cosmic orgasm is the Big Bang. And the Big Bang spawned everything that is below the void.
No, that is where you're wrong. Tecumseh, this is exactly, you see how Tecumseh says someone to direct her? This is the flaw in the coding, my friends. This is what we're fixing today, so stay with me. So one of the girls said mother needed someone to direct her. That is where all women are vibrating right now, and that is what Metatron wants to fix.
Both mother and father are equal counterparts in creation.
But you'll understand as we go through the story.
So when they birthed the universe was created with the replica of the Godhead, which is the Godhead here, and the replica of the Godhead is the throne of God in the 15th dimension. So for our example, we'll use 15 dimensions, although there are infinite number of dimensions in this universe, but we'll call the 15th dimension the highest dimension. So below the throne of God is the dimension 10 to 15, which is the hierarchies of heaven, which is seraphim, angels, dragons, and all of these illuminated beings. The dragon consciousness is actually an angelic consciousness. It is a consciousness which helped to create this universe. And dragons are very ancient, revered beings. They're godlike beings. Now, below the dragon consciousness, at this point, everything was empty. The universe had not yet been populated. The universe had not yet been populated below the realms of heaven. So this is where we have to go into the story.
Yes.
So dimensions 5 to 9 were not yet populated with life. So
hold on. Are you guys aware of what we're saying right now? You guys have the story. Just quickly recap it in one sentence. You want to do it? Okay, so basically when Divine Mother and Divine Father, when the Mother and the Father made love, it created an explosion in the universe. Dimensions 10 to 15, the Godhead were created. And then dimensions 5 to 9, which is, they weren't populated with life, but these are the dimensions where the Lyrans, the Syrians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans all started, populating eventually. And what happened was the Divine Mother and Divine Father and other beings from the Godhead realm, which is right on top here, decided to fragment into smaller fractals as individual souls and populate these realms to experience the lower dimensions, to experience free will. Okay?
Right. So now the lower dimensions, there was a plan to populate the lower dimensions, and all of these civilizations were created. Many more, but these are the main civilizations we know of, like Andromeda, Arcturus, Sirius, and Pleiades. And these populated in dimensions 5 to 9. When we talk about dimensions 5 to 9, we're talking about ascended planets in higher dimensions within this universe, okay? So Divine Mother and Divine Father from the 15th dimension wanted to incarnate into these realms to experience what is it like to not be God and experience free will and to forget part of who we are and to live amongst our creation. At that point, a question was asked in the heavenly realms that changed everything. The question was, what would happen if out of free will, we created a being that chose to rebel against the laws of this universe? What would happen?
So say that again, because this is the most powerful part. Metatron just told us this. This is what created the whole rift, the whole error, the whole mistrust between the masculine and feminine. So this is the part that leads to that story.
Right.
So the question was asked in the heavens, what would happen if out of our free will, we chose to rebel against the laws of universe, the laws of creation? What if we became our own worst nightmare, our own worst enemy? And instead of peace and love, what if we chose hatred, war, and separation? You have to remember, until then, negativity didn't exist. Wars didn't exist, right?
Right. So once a question is asked in the kingdom of heaven, it must be answered, because this is a free will universe and all free will questions have to be answered to their fullest extent. The only thing that we didn't know at that time in the kingdom of heaven is that once we create this duality experiment that happened in this universe, we never knew the extent of damage and war and separation that would occur. Once that question was asked, an experiment was created to create positive beings who worked according to the laws of creation and respected all life. But also, because of the laws of free will in this universe, negative beings were allowed to be created who would rebel against the laws of this universe and rebel against God.
Why? Because until this happened, this question that arose in the Godhead could never be answered. And think about it this way: if ever you had to always live under the threat that, okay, shit, I'm doing a really good job, I'm being God, but what if there's another God who is strong enough to destroy me, and you don't want to even look at that story? That is not possible in those higher realms. In the higher realms, as Siman mentioned, every question that arises, every doubt that arises is meticulously answered and put away and sorted and tucked. So this is what created this whole experiment that we call the universe. Because God consciousness, mother, father wanted to experience life in the lower dimensions. And so the negative beings were created and the positive beings were created, and said, okay, let's start an experiment to see what happens if we allow free will. We not only allow free will, but we also allow positive and negative beings, and let's see what will happen.
Yeah, so we had positive beings like the Pleiadians, the Syrians, Andromedans, Arcturians, and many more, hundreds of millions of more races. But the negative races were the Draco-Reptilians, the Orions, the Greys, the Zeta Reticuli. And within each of the positive races, there's a percentage of the positive race that like 15% of Pleiadians are also negative. So there was a variation in between negative beings and positive beings. And the negative beings and the positive beings started warring against each other. At that time, we did not know what would happen. That's the whole point of creation. If God knew and the Godhead knew everything that was going to happen, then he could just read it in a book. But the laws of this universe dictated that God could not intervene once this universe was started. And everything that had to unfold would allowed to be unfold untouched and unfettered. That's the only way this experiment would be pure. Okay? So now here we are. Now we know that 1 billion years have passed since this war started. The Draco-Reptilians have been at war against humanity, the Galactic Federation, and all these ascended beings. And they went into a like a madman's rage to control and occupy the entire universe, because that's the only thing they know how to do. They only know how to occupy this universe.
And now we're being told by Metatron, to come back to present day, that this experiment that started 1 billion years ago of what would happen if we, out of our own free will, went against God, is now finally being wrapped up. Why? Because all the answers that are needed, all the data that is needed think of it like Secret Service. So think about it as, let's say you're the queen, the actual queen, or forget, it's not the fake reptilian queen we're talking about here, but let's say you're Queen Mother. On planet Earth, let's say you're the royal family. Your Secret Service is constantly assessing all threats against you. So Metatron explained to us that that's how this is happening. All of the threats were needing to be addressed. What happens if, and then that's what led to the reptilians and all these wars, and all this data has been collected, and Metatron gave us the news that now after 1 billion years, this experiment that we call the duality experiment is ready to be wrapped up once and for all, because we're no longer learning from wars and destruction, and that our universe is graduating into heaven on earth, a realm of unity consciousness. And all beings that have rebelled against the laws, the universal laws, are going to be separated into a completely separate dimension that we will not really interact with, and they will continue, and they will also be given a chance to ascend eventually, but they won't be a match for planet Earth anymore. And this is another really, really good piece of the puzzle that's come in the last few weeks, that the Draco-Reptilians, after 800 millions of years of evolution, have now ascended a big portion of their clan, a big portion of the Draco-Reptilians, not the minions on Earth, but the higher realms of the Draco-Reptilians, after 800 millions of years have ascended into unity consciousness. And this is huge. It's happening in the top tiers, but it's enough to affect an entire civilization. And we were told is that now the Draco reptilians have released their claim on planet Earth once and for all. And their minions on Earth are still here, but it's just a matter of time before they're all wrapped up and they realize that their bosses are no longer here. The red spider is gone. The AI is gone.
So just to recap, what Metatron said was that 2025 is the pivot year, and this entire this universe is approximately 20 billion years or longer.
Wow,
in
is
its
right,
history.
Julie. Exactly.
So this 20 billion year experiment is being ended in 2025, and when you correspond the year 2025 with all the astrological alignments, and you take all the minor major planets and all the far beyond planets, the kind of alignments that are happening this year have never happened in our known history. So all the astrological alignments are also showing that we're at the end of the Kali Yuga this particular year. And Metatron said, from 2026 onwards, we're no longer going to be in the same universe. We're like walking through an invisible wall. So what this means for you and me is that our lives will continue. It's not like the world will just come to an end and we'll be in another holographic simulation. Our lives will continue. There'll be a transition. There'll be a continuation of the story. But things will shift so rapidly that it will not be comprehensible to the human mind. And everything is about to shift.
Yes.
And there will not be any more negativity on this planet, not only on this planet, but in the entire universe that we occupy. The entire universe is being ascended from war and duality to unity consciousness universe. And the Draco, the biggest news that EldoRA just mentioned, and I want to reiterate, is that the Draco reptilian consciousness has also ascended after 800 million years of war. And in their highest echelons of leadership, there is finally some signs of unconditional love, because they're realizing that in order to ascend and evolve further, they have to go from warring the outer warrior, which tries to occupy and control everything, to the inner warrior. So they're also going through an evolution where they're now focusing on their own inner evolution rather than trying to control the creation.
Okay. So now, remember we were talking about the rift between the men and the women. Now let's go into that part of the story. So what this is all stuff Metatron just told us this, and even we were bawling. There was a time when Siman and I and Metatron, all three of us, were crying. That's why I said Metatron always comes to us like this dude who's very higher up, our mentor. But this time he came to give me my Lyran spacesuit, but he also came to give us all this information. He came as a friend and he was crying with us. We've never ever experienced this. We went very deep with Metatron this time. So what he said was, at the time these Dracos were created, okay, this is important, guys. So you know how we said that in order to go ahead with this duality experiment, they created positive and negative beings? So what happened was that these Dracos, out of their power and their abusive nature to women and their condescending nature and their rudeness and toxicity and whatnot, they represented the fallen masculine consciousness. And the divine feminine consciousness took a fall because they began to mistrust all the masculine consciousness because they fell under their control. I'm going to repeat that. At the time the Dracos were created, they represented the fallen masculine consciousness. And what happened was, as a result of all their abuse and toxic narcissistic ways, the divine feminine also took a fall because they understood that this is the masculine. This is the masculine. They are here to cheat us, hurt us, abuse us, condemn us, trap us in their clutch. Now, so a deep crack, a deep wounding was created a billion years ago. Like, this is all we're talking about, the last several hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years.
The divide between men and women that we all experience, the deep mistrust between men and women that we experience in Earth, is because of a deep crack in the collective consciousness that occurred in the entire universe. And the reptilians became the toxic masculine consciousness, and the Lyrans and ascended beings represented the divine feminine consciousness. And both of them, the toxic masculine and the divine feminine, has been warring for so long that even the divine feminine has fallen in consciousness because they began to hate the masculine, and the masculine wanted to subjugate and control the feminine.
And this is where it gets to the next part of the story. And this was, I think, we had many high moments, but this was one of the highest moments we had that night. So this is now, so before I get into the high moment, they also said, Metatron also said humans will be the first to heal this mistrust. So you know how we said that there's this mistrust going all the way from our current dimension 0, like our, not just our current dimension, but from dimension 0, all the way up to dimension 9, there's this crack in the coding between the masculine and the feminine. And he said the humans, guys, we will be the first to heal this crack, to heal this mistrust. And that's when we begin to rise back into the Godhead. Why? Because we carry, why humans? Why are we so important? Because we carry the DNA of 22 different species. We carry the DNA of Lyrians, Syrians, Reptilians, Andromedans, Arcturians, Pleiadians. And when we resolve our differences with each other, the masculine and the feminine, we solve a cosmic puzzle that reverberates across the entire universe.
Yeah. So in other words, humans are known as the race who will end the war of all wars.
Yes.
And how do we do that? We are the only race in this universe that have Draco-reptilian. We have reptilian DNA in our, which is evident in our reptilian brain, which is in the back of our head, our reptilian spine. So we have reptilian DNA, and we have ascended Pleiadian, Arcturian, and all these ascended beings' DNA. So humans are like a prototype that we can be the worst people, we can be the worst kind of murdering people, or we can be ascended masters. You've seen both. You've seen Yeshua and you've seen the worst Hitler on the same planet, in the same body. So we have both polarities. But when humans, which is now coming to an end of our duality experiment, when we merge all the lessons of the light and dark, when we resolve the differences between the masculine and the feminine and heal this code, we're healing cosmic equations within our DNA. And by healing our DNA, we're healing the crack in the entire universal matrix. Just
This
absorb the
is
enormity of this, you guys. By healing
Woo!
our human DNA as individuals, we are healing the greater fractal code of this universe. That is why Earth is so important.
Yes.
Whatever happens on Earth reverberates in the entire cosmos.
Yes. So then we move on to the next part of the story of our embodiment ceremony. And I had a very major experience, very major release. This was the same night we taught cord cutting. So we taught Metatronic cord cutting in our Healers Academy. I told you guys on Saturday. That same night, all of this happened. So Metatron came in, and Metatron asked Siman to channel my father's consciousness. It wasn't just like some guy pretending to be my father, but my father, who passed away 11 years ago. And right after he passed away, I met Siman. He channeled into Siman's body, and he had the most humility, and I wrote down exactly, and guys...
And just to put this in context for people who don't know EldoRA's story, EldoRA was raised in India under her father, who was extremely narcissistic, extremely not only emotionally and psychologically abusive, but also physically abusive. And she's had one of the most difficult and challenging lifetimes that I personally have heard about from any of my friends. And it's a wonder that she's such an angel sitting here in front of you all today, because any other person would be in a mental hospital having gone. She's gone through an abortion without anesthesia while her parents rejected her. She literally had to take herself there alone and come back in a rickshaw. She's gone through homelessness. She had to leave her house many times. She had to run away from her abusive father.
I had cancer at the age of 30.
She got cancer, which she also healed. And God knows what else. She had not only that, she had a narcissistic son whom she had to disown because of his abuse and narcissism.
My ex-in-laws were very narcissistic and toxic to me, always putting me down because I was not from their religion, because they were Muslim and I was born Hindu.
So given this context of extreme abuse from her father, now think that her father's soul, after 10 years after his death, channeled through me, and this is what he said to her.
And guys, this may make many of you emotional, because many of you have exactly this story. I'm already getting emotional. So my father, through Siman was speaking. He was standing in the most humble way, and he said, I have severely judged you. I have severely mistreated you. And as I'm reading this, you guys are being reminded that if you've gone through any kind of abuse from your father, you
or
allow
any
me,
masculine.
or any masculine, you just open yourself up and you receive this as a true apology of the masculine, because this, we are being asked to do something very major today and forgive the masculine, if we are able to. So my father's soul said, I have severely judged you. I have severely mistreated you. I have put you through a level of psychological torture that most CIA operatives won't be able to handle. Yet here I see you before me in your full divine glory. And the level of light that I am seeing in the being I have the honor to call my daughter, that level of light is incomprehensible for me. It's not possible for me to even understand how a monster like me could birth such a wonderful being such as yourself. I'm coming to you today with only one request. One request. The biggest gift you can give me today is the gift of your forgiveness. And I realize that even now, I have taken from you all your life. And even as my last request after death, this will be my very last request after death, I am still taking from you. I'm still taking from you. I realize that I have no right to take anything more from you, but I only request humbly one gift that would free my soul forever from the enormous burden of debt I carry, from the abuse I have sent to you. The biggest gift you can give me today is your forgiveness. And without a second thought, I was just crying and I was like, I forgive you, I forgive you, I fully forgive you. I had no, yes, say it out loud, I forgive you. For this is, we're channeling on behalf of the entire feminine consciousness.
And the fallen divine, and the fallen masculine.
And the fallen masculine. The
It's
fallen
time to heal
masculine
you guys. It's
is
time
saying
to put our
sorry.
past behind us.
I was just, my father, me, Siman, Metatron, we're all just playing out a cosmic game. And you know what my father said? He said through Siman, he said, would you please, so sweetly, he said, would you like to do one final cord cutting with me? Because it's now time for me to move on to the next realm
of
my own evolution. This will be the last time we'll ever meet. And he said, I follow your teachings very fondly, and I noticed that you just taught Metatronic cord cutting.
He watches our teachings from the higher dimensions, and he follows them so fondly. He even knows all the techniques.
And he said, based on your teaching, let's do one final cord cutting. Will you do it with me? Then as soon as I cut the cord, he gave it to the Supreme Being, just like we had taught in our class. And after I cut the cord, it was just a very beautiful, and Metatron in true Metatronic style cracked the biggest joke that I was crying and crying and crying, and then I burst into so much laughter because Siman's standing there like my father, channeling my father, and I'm crying, and I said, I forgive you, I forgive you. I cut the cord and everything, and immediately he started leaving the room. And I started freaking out. I'm like, where are you going? Where are you going? And he says, this was Metatron, because Metatron's sense of humor I haven't seen in anybody. He says, oh, I'm just going for a character change. I'll be right back.
He's like, I need a minute to change characters from your father back to Metatron.
To Siman, Metatron, father, there's too many people.
A lot of balls I was juggling that night. A lot of character changes. It was like a theater show.
And guys, so Metatron has a message for both men and women. He said, you may be going through this healing with the masculine as well. For the men, this is the message Metatron had. He said, it's very important to be humble and hold space for your woman, as there is a lot of unprocessed anger, resentment, and hurt. I'm going to say that again for the beautiful men out here watching. It is very important to be humble and hold space for women, as there is a lot of unprocessed anger and resentment and hurt. And for women, it is important not to go into blame and projection. It is for you to own your shit. Nobody is above the other. Always have the intention of moving up and not getting caught in this cycle that we are like stuck in right now, because every single one of you is ascending past this duality right now. Guys, the ascension timelines are moving forward like we've never, ever experienced. So I do want to give you guys a very major transmission, that another major thing that we were given about the Emerald Dragon. I don't even know how.
Before we go into that, I quickly want to say, for women, what happens is that the women of this generation have received a lot of abuse from the fathers of the past generation. So that created the anger and resentment, which is very much justified in the women's consciousness towards men, because there's been so much abuse in all the generations until now. But when there's abuse from your father or past lovers or whatever have you, narcissist ex-husbands, sometimes when you're in your current relationship, you don't realize as women that you're channeling the anger, you're channeling misplaced anger towards your current partner. Okay? This is, hear me out, this is very deep and very important.
Very deep.
Many women are channeling the trauma of the past towards the partner of their present, even though their partner of the present may not have initiated or perpetuated that trauma.
It feels like he did.
It feels like, because he's the man in your life, that he's the target and he created the hurt. Because whenever you're in a relationship, it is there to create healing. But if you project your anger towards your partner instead of realizing that this healing is occurring to heal your soul and for you to release the anger, if you project the anger from your abusive father or your abusive ex towards your partner and it blows out of proportion, and then your partner takes a hard stance against you and says, hey, I didn't do this, what are you talking about? You're both right, but the anger is perpetuating the same cycle, and we don't want to pass this anger down another generation, because then we will be doing a disservice to our children, okay? So our goal in this generation is to grow up and be more mature and realize that men and women hold a very sacred role in healing this universal divide between the masculine and the feminine, and to do our best not to project on each other, but rather men to hold space and compassion for this healing and be very patient and understanding of that anger, and for women to also realize that it's very important not to project and blame on your man, but rather say, this is how I'm feeling, these are very raw feelings, and I want to heal this and I need your support in this. So make your men a partner in your healing rather than the enemy, otherwise we won't get anywhere.
And I want to very quick just comment on Linda's message. She says, now you need to do the same with your son, and it's actually the opposite of the message we're getting. So let's say you have a son that is still a narcissist, or let's say you have a partner that is still a narcissist. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you are a rag for their shit, or a rag, a punching bag for their abuse. Forgiving someone simply means that if your partner, your male partner, means well and is just caught up in his own traumas and wounding, and he's not a bad person, he's not trying to be abusive, you don't get lost in those perpetual blame of you did this and you're so useless and you're so unworthy. But there is absolutely no excuse for abuse. Yeah. Absolutely none. So if at all, like your son or your daughter or anybody in your life, your husband is abusing you, this code doesn't mean you go back and say, allow you to abuse me because now I'm going to just...
There's a difference between forgiveness and opening yourself up to abuse. So yes. EldoRA has forgiven her son, but that doesn't mean she needs to go back and bring him back into our life, because unless he changes to a level where he can respect her, yes. He has no place in her life.
Yes. So now I want to go into the final conclusion of this story, which is very, very exciting for Siman and me. That's talking about the Emerald Dragon consciousness. And this is the part, like there's so much that's happening. I don't even know how, for once in my life, I'm short of words, so is Siman. But I'm going to catch you guys up real quick. I just wrote it in point form. I'm looking at the document we wrote right after Metatron's visit. So real quick, and everything we're about to share is not so much to share, oh my God, we're going through all of this, but really to show you guys where we are in the ascension and how big the times we are in. So we've been shown that Siman and I will be amongst the first to anchor Christ consciousness on the planet, and that this is a pre-soul contracted, and it's destined as long as we follow our guidance and stay on the path of embodiment. Many of you are going to start walking this path over the next decade, 2 or 3 decades. So this is a very important, very exciting ascension tunnel. Once we do it, it's going to be very quick for you guys to do it. We've been told that our souls originate from the throne of God, and we were sent to earth for the sole purpose. And I mean the sole purpose to be the bridge DNA for humanity to ascend back to the throne. Metatron told us that we have a lot of protection, a lot of eyes on us. He literally made it sound like we have a satellite, a spaceship just focused on us.
He literally showed it like EldoRA is currently incubating in a dragon's nest, and we are going to go
Explain
into
that actually. This was the biggest part of the whole transmission for me personally. I've never really connected. I've connected with my dragon, but you guys know that I had a like a Lyran merger recently, where I connected with this lioness side of me, which is very apparent in my aura. But I've never connected with my dragon higher self. This is where it gets really interesting and really weird, but really magical.
So during this last ceremony, a dragon energy breathed into EldoRA for a split second, and we both felt it.
It was a emerald
green dragon code, and we saw it. I saw like a scale of an emerald green dragon, like it was in the deep dark ocean. It looked like in a dark deep void, and it had greenish scales that had emerald color, and EldoRA just saw the emerald, and we both saw the same shade of emerald.
It lasted for about 3 seconds while we were in Tantra. It came in while we were in sacred Tantra, and this emerald wasn't just any emerald. It had the frequency of God. It had like this...
It had the founder's DNA. It had like a divine, revered DNA.
It had like, how the sun is shining and you feel the magic of it? It had the magic of Christed codes. It had like silver and golden and all these sparkles. And we'll get there in a second. So because I feel like we need to give the story in steps. So
yeah.
Metatron, we didn't know any of this. Now, in our relationship, it's very obvious. You guys have seen the movie The Bodyguard, like Whitney Houston and that guy, whatever that guy's name is. Kevin Costner. Every time I would see that, I was in college when that happened, and I would go watch that video and say, I want a bodyguard of my own. Like I had this...
Look at the sunlight goes above your Ra hat. That's not a coincidence.
This is not a coincidence.
It's not like we position ourselves with the sun.
No way.
It just happens.
Thank you guys. The guides are giving us all codes.
Ra is confirming everything,
and it's
basically.
pink. Yes. So, what was I saying? No, hold on. Oh yeah, so the movie The Bodyguard, which I was watching in '94, like obsessed with it. And Siman's energy with me is always like he's my cosmic bodyguard. Don't ask me why, but he's like his whole plan, his whole purpose, his whole foundation, his whole existence, even though he doesn't show it to you guys, in our own energy, it's like to heal me, activate me, protect me, take care of me, period. And he's not doing it as a human. He's doing it because he's getting orders from a higher order.
It's built into my code. It's in my soul's purpose.
So he's kind of like my cosmic. It's like every girl's dream, basically. But it's every one of us wants that knight in shining armor, but we won't get it because we're in victim consciousness.
From my perspective, it looks like I'm here tending after a cosmic dragon's egg that is about to hatch, and nobody in the universe knows what will hatch out of this egg.
And really, we're not just saying cosmic dragon. This is all what Metatron told us, but we've always known this. And in our relationship, it's not like I'm this victim, weak, feminine. We're both powerful, but at the same time, there is this level of responsibility that Siman feels towards me, and he considers me his divine mission in a very major way. And always he's getting
It's because we've been shown that EldoRA's code is extremely important for humanity's ascension. EldoRA's code, my code, and the handful of people, I think 144 in total, are going to come in this generation that hold this throne dragon 12D coding that can help humanity ascend all the way back. Without these souls and without these codes and without these experiences, humanity would hit like a glass ceiling. So we always need humans embodied who have completed the path, and they can help the rest of humanity complete the path. That's our role.
And when I tried to understand, and I'm going to tell you about the Emerald Dragon because this is very new for me too, but how Metatron explained it to us was, if Mother Mary had not incarnated from the throne of God, because Mother Mary also comes from the throne of God, if she had not taken on human burdens and then healed herself back to an ascended state, humanity would not be able to ascend as easily, because those steps have gone into the grids, the Christ consciousness grids of the planet and the Akashic records. So what I want to tell you is, whatever level of consciousness you are vibrating in right now, once you accept yourself right now, no excuses, you are a bridge to someone. I may be a bridge for you, Siman may be a bridge for me, you may be a bridge for someone, and that someone may be a bridge for someone
We're
else.
all like creating a ladder that goes all the way back to the heavenly hierarchy. We're creating Jacob's ladder.
He literally said, like a chain reaction, this bridge is needed. It's being formed right now very, very actively from all the levels of consciousness.
And we need light workers at every level of consciousness. And light workers often judge themselves and say, why am I not like that person? Why don't I have my psychic abilities? Or why don't I have $1 million in my bank account? But what we were told by Metatron is that we need light workers at every level of consciousness, because the level of consciousness you're at, there will always be someone lower who can resonate with you.
Yes.
And when you ascend, they ascend.
Yes.
But without you in that rung in the ladder, you'll miss a whole level of consciousness that will be left behind. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So we're all playing a vital role. So don't judge yourself
Yes.
for not being like someone else.
Yes.
You're playing a very important role no matter who you are and where you are.
And another very powerful thing came in about worth and trust relating to House of Ra. Remember? So this year, for those of you who are coming, many of you are coming to House of Ra. Many of our healers are coming to House of Ra. What we were shown is that this year, House of Ra is a frequency fence. It's not like any House of Ra we've done so far. And they were also telling us that this year, we're going to go very, very high because of the frequency of people coming. We have 42 people registered as our healers in our Metatronic Academy, and 20 of them are coming to House of Ra. At least half or more than half. So what the guides are saying is that after 8 weeks of channeling these Metatronic energies until March, mid-March, boom, April, House of Ra, all of these healers, Siman, EldoRA, we're going to meet, converge with many of you. And we're going to create a bridge so powerful, frequency-based. This is why this time our container is very pure. It's not attracting people who are not on the ascension path, who are like just fucking around and wasting their time. It's like a frequency fence. It's almost like people are like, I want to go to that, but I'm not getting the guidance. I want to go to that, but I don't feel worthy. I want to go to that, but there's some block. You know what the block is? What is the block?
Many people feel they are not worthy of a high frequency vortex, or they're feeling like they're blocked from gifting themselves this gift of ascension, or they're looking for permission from their husbands or their family to say, hey, why don't you go on this festival and raise your frequency? No one's going to tell you that but you.
Yes.
You have to choose yourself. And right now we're sensing that many people are blocked from jumping into ascension portals like House of Ra Ascension Festival, which is happening in Tulum this April 9th to 14th. Many people are blocked because they don't feel worthy enough to gift themselves this gift of evolution.
Yes.
And you
And
have to
yes.
choose yourself, and you
Yes.
have to show up for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you.
No one
That's
needs
the
to tell
initiation.
you.
That's the
Yes.
invitation. We
Yes.
can only create the event. The souls that choose themselves to be there have to do it on their own.
Yes, and no one needs to tell you you are worth it. You are worth it. This is what Metatron was saying. The only person who has to believe that you are a part of the frequency fence is you. The only person who has to label that you are out of the frequency fence is you. Most people get so jumbled up in this that they get confused, but it's a simple decision. Only you can say yes, only you can say no. Only you can say I'm worthy, only you can say I'm not worthy. Now, what Metatron also said was for this whole process to complete, we are merging back with the founders. So one of the other things about House of Ra is, I'm finding this very interesting, is that our guides for House of Ra are the founders. As you guys know, the founders are the highest guides in the universe. They are the highest guides in our universe. They're called the founders. And I asked, I literally, somebody got it on camera the other day. We were in a ceremony opening up the channels for House of Ra, and Merlin has made a beautiful video, which we'll be posting tomorrow or day after, about our ceremony, where we created a 12D pillar, we set our intentions, we set the call to, we have a few more tickets left, but we set the call for those who are really meant to be there. And I literally looked at Siman and I looked at Starla and I said, why are the founders guiding us? And Siman said, it's because of how important House of Ra is. Why is it so important? Because right now this very bridge is being created. The ascension timelines are being rapidly skyrocketed, accelerated, because after 1 billion years, we're finally fixing all the cracks in the coding and we don't have any more time to waste. We're going to go very fast now. And so if any of you are feeling that pull for House of Ra, I urge you to look into it and urge you to literally ask your ego to step aside. And really, before you even open the website, which is houseofra.com, HOUSEOFRA.com, you affirm, I am worth it, I am worthy, I am here to ascend. I am not playing small. I am ready to go all the way back to my God source, really. And I've got goosebumps. And I am done playing this karmic loop. I'm done wasting my time, and then see what happens. Our website has been coded vibrationally to only speak to those of you who are meant to receive it. This time we've put a lot of vibrational frequency fences to not attract people who are just fucking around. And every single one of you makes that cut. You just have to choose yourself. So what Metatron told us was that for this process, this whole process to complete, something crazy has to happen. He talked about how okay, this is where it gets really weird even for me. He said, first of all, he said that I'm in a dragon's egg. And I found that adorable because I resonate with it. He said, EldoRA, you've always acted like you're not yet ready to hatch. And I know that's true. It's speaking to my soul. It's like, I know I'm this powerful, like I have a lot of work to do, but it's not time yet. I'm like, okay, it's not time yet. Like I can just go slow. You guys may think I'm going fast, but this is me going very slow. This is me just taking a vacation because my time hasn't come yet. They're saying,
like a walk in the park.
It's like, so easy, right?
It's not easy.
It's easy. We make it very easy.
It's not easy.
Come on.
Well,
it's so easy.
You're underestimating how much we've gone through over the last 10 years.
I agree, but it's not hard anymore. But anyway, It's just a matter of...
It's easy, but it's not easy.
Yeah, like we've worked hard and now we get to play hard. But okay, now this green energy, this green dragon energy that came in, it's activating the dragon DNA within me. The soul of my dragon higher self walked in, and it's now going to take birth through me. This is the part I want to explain. Siman already carries this dragon consciousness carries this dragon consciousness from his walk-in, and what Metatron said is that there's this hatching that's taking place. And this hatching takes place in every soul's life when the soul reaches a certain level. After maybe 1 billion years, I don't know, but there's this level and the soul hatches. And guys, when that green transmission came in, this is what I was shown. I was literally shown, like I thought it was a pearl, that in the sea.
Like an oyster.
Oyster, yeah. You know how there's an oyster in the sea? As soon as that green elixir came into me and I saw this dragon, it only came into me. Siman saw it in his third eye, but it came into me. So I was shown this thing move like this, crack open, and like it goes like this. And from inside, EldoRA emerges. And I'm thinking, what is this? And that's what Metatron is saying. He says, in the last ceremony, you cracked and you emerged. That's what's going to happen. And you're literally...
And she had a humanoid body, but it was a dragon-human hybrid consciousness.
And they're saying that this version of humanity does not exist. It's like Divine Mother 2.0, and this is the future of humanity. And they're saying, oh, guys, I have to tell you the most important thing, Siman, we forgot to tell them the most important thing about how Metatron released me. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think that's the main thing. So anyway, this whole dragon thing is taking place.
Let's finish this thought because this is also important.
Fine.
What Metatron is telling us, in other words, is that we're amongst the first few on planet Earth who are going to experience this birthing or metamorphosis into a new species. We're in the near future not going to be the same species as human. We're going to become a brand new species that has never existed before in the universe or any existence. So the whole of creation, the whole heavenly hierarchy is watching with awe as to what's about to birth on this planet, because it's never happened before. It's unprecedented. And what's
we are the ones.
We are the ones. We're the first few ones, and then there'll be more waves, and then there'll be more waves. So there has to be someone paving the way, right? So what's going to birth is a hybrid human and divine dragon consciousness. So the human DNA merges with the D12 throne DNA of the dragons and births a new humanoid consciousness. So not like we'll have scales and like weird faces. We'll still look like this, or a variation of what we look like, but with amazing abilities beyond our comprehension. And that being will be more powerful than the Dracos. It'll be more powerful than anything that has ever existed.
Yes.
In fact, one of the reasons that the Dracos are calling peace with humans,
Ooh.
one of the reasons that the Dracos are calling peace with the humans is they know what's about to emerge from Earth can kick their ass, and they don't want that.
Wow.
We don't want to kick their ass, but I'm just saying,
Wow.
they're a bit in awe and shock.
That's huge.
So this new being that will emerge will literally be able to travel through all the dimensions, and they'll be able to rematerialize in any form. They'll be able to do things that are even, you know how Jesus said, you will be able to do everything I'm doing, but much greater? This is what he meant. This is what's about to happen.
And the entire universe, Metatron said, has its eyes on humanity, especially on those of us who are the way-showers of Christ consciousness. This is huge. And so basically Metatron said, I've completed all my earth initiations after like a huge, long freaking cycle. And now I'm going to be born anew as this hybrid of human and dragon, but it's going to come out as this humanoid, dragonoid, whatever it is. But that before I could do any of this, I had to fully accept my bodysuit, lovingly say goodbye to it, which is why all the self-worth and all the initial things came up. I have to lovingly say goodbye to it, thank it, honor it for everything, which I did when I was laughing in the bathroom and saying, my God, I have such a beautiful body. Why do I sometimes judge it? And he said, once that happens, a new genetic body he said a new body is being birthed from inside of you, and it is a genetic process that will take the next few years. And Metatron held like a Metatronic healing acid right above me, and he poured it over my physical body, and my physical body literally melted as I said goodbye to it. And oh my God, okay, now is the part that's going to make you bawl.
Just to put things in perspective, the dragon DNA that we're talking about is 120 strands of DNA.
Yes.
Human DNA currently is about at 3 or 4 strands. So just imagine the level of evolution that's about to take place.
The dragon DNA is from the throne of God.
And we're going to go from 3 to 120 over the next couple of 100 years.
Yeah. No, in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening.
When you get to 120, you're going to be unrecognizable. So there's a lot of stages that are going to unfold, and each one of them will be magical.
Okay, guys, I'm so sorry if this makes you cry again, but this is the most precious thing Metatron gave me that had me bawling and bawling and bawling. And it's exact his words. Again, open yourself up to this. This was what this whole ceremony was about. I'm going to read it exactly as it came through, and then Siman and I will explain it, okay? I just want you to absorb the words. Don't look at me, just absorb the words. Metatron's words. Until now, you followed the Metatronic path of ascension, bound by its rules. Not because they were the ultimate truth, but because you had yet to cultivate the inner mastery to ascend on your own. You believed that in order to evolve, you had to impress me, Metatron, striving to meet my standards, my expectations, as if proving your worth to a divine father figure. But this construct was merely a bridge, a program designed by me, myself, to guide humanity to a certain level. And for time, it has served you, because deep down, you didn't trust yourself to navigate the path alone. You needed the structure. You needed the training wheels. But hear this now, that time is over. As my parting gift to the old version of you that is dissolving, to make way for your sovereign emergence, I now release you from the programming of the Metatronic Father. No longer do you need to shape your path according to the expectations of the masculine, whether consciously or subconsciously. I release you now from the programming of the Metatronic Father. This program was never meant to last forever. Before the ship takes off, it must be released from the dock. And now, you are no longer contained within the dragon's egg of Metatronic incubation. The shell is breaking. You are hatching. And as you emerge, there are no more rules. Only the infinite freedom of your divine becoming. Did you guys feel that? Whew. Tell me if you guys felt that. Holy shit, guys. He released me. Metatron released me. And for those of you who felt it, let me know. How many of you feel this masculine clutch over you? Like we're always trying to listen to the masculine or follow the masculine. We
or
don't
go
even
by their
realize
standards.
it. Right? It was so freaking huge. He said you no longer have to be guided by this Metatronic rule book. Now you can hatch. You no longer have to look at the masculine as a guiding force or as someone you need to please or listen to. You are now a sovereign being. Completely, like, let go of this Metatronic. He said literally, this has been created for you. Like Metatron as the most divine. Yeah, you guys felt it good. Metatron's, how do you see this, Siman?
When
this
I was
so
channeling
powerful.
Metatron while he was saying this, I was
Siman,
in
I don't think you
absolute
channel.
tears.
This guy channels Metatron better than anyone I know. It's like, other than the fact that Metatron has a better sense of humor, sorry Siman, he's very funny, but Metatron's sense of humor is ridiculous. It's too funny. You channel Metatron very, very, it's like I don't know which one's Siman and which one's Metatron. They're very clearly together.
I feel like I have some of his coding, that's why it's easy for me to relate to him. And when he was channeling this final parting gift to the EldoRA's past version of herself, and he said, I'm releasing you from the programming of the Metatronic father, I was just bawling because I have personally never experienced such a huge gift of unconditional love. It's like a divine father telling his daughter that I was only watching over this egg until this moment. And after, if I keep watching this egg, I will become a burden on you. Now I have to let the egg hatch and follow its own path. So I'm releasing you from any expectations of ascension, or you can choose any path because now you are evolved enough to follow your own soul's voice and you no longer need me. I'm still going to be here as a guide through all the stages to help you ascend. But from now on, Metatron said he's going to look at us as equal and as divine co-creators in this journey, not as an ascension teachers who's here to judge us. We no longer have to adhere to his standards. We can create our own rule book. And he said this new universe we're about to enter into is a completely blank slate. What's going to happen in the next universe is a story that has not even been written yet. We are the ones who, all of us, all of humanity who ascends and goes into New Earth, we have to write the story through our free will. But the requirements are that we are not to follow the path of duality and mistrust. To get to New Earth, we have to heal the mistrust between the divine masculine and feminine, as well as the mistrust of ourself, as well as all of our insecurities. Only then we can be the divine co-creators who can stand in our own power. So
Yes.
This is huge, you guys.
This was very, very beautiful. And I love how so many of you said, you guys felt the release, right? So many people said, I have released, I felt the release. And how, Siman, when Metatron was telling me all this, why it was so emotional for both of us, Metatron was apologizing to us, saying, he's talking like a Godhead being, right? He's saying, I apologize for this whole duality experiment. I apologize that we created the Dracos and we created the positives just to show us what would happen if
To honor free will.
To honor free will. He's apologizing to us. And
Because
there was a
Metatron
moment...
also shared with us that he carried a deep burden for humanity because he's one of the creators of this universe. And although it was not his fault that all these wars broke out, but imagine as a creator when you're just watching helplessly all your children fight and you're not allowed to get involved. He had such a huge burden that for the first time we saw his vulnerable side, and through me he bawled and bawled and bawled.
I've never
and he said,
seen Metatron cry.
It was like he was apologizing to Divine Mother, and he said, I am so sorry for all this war and destruction. Not that he was creating the war, but he was just saying, I am so sorry that all of this had to happen, but I'm also grateful that now this war is over.
And as Siman was crying, bawling, because it was Metatron bawling, it wasn't Siman. And he said, do you forgive me? He was talking to me like I'm Divine Mother, more like a cosmic, it's like not...
He was speaking to her like she's Divine Mother and he's the son.
Yes.
Metatron was speaking to Mother as the son and asking
saying,
for
I'm
forgiveness.
so sorry I did this to you. Like first I had to forgive my father, which was easy. Then when my Metatron started crying, I was like, what is going on? And I was like, no, I forgive you. No, you did this. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It was just very beautiful. I feel like something major has released, guys. major, major, major. And so for those of you who, there's a lot to process for you guys, but there's every single one of us is part of this cosmic equation, and how we show up with our husbands, with our sons, we don't take abuse, we don't take any kind of abuse, but we also don't project our shit on them. We have to heal this base level distrust we feel in the men, right? It's this base level, and I've healed it. Siman and I.
144 now.
Yes, we went through a major transmission as we heal it, and this House of Ra, we're being guided to do like a very intimate circle one day, where the divine masculine, the divine feminine, we all like really go through a forgiveness ceremony. We really look in each other's eyes and forgive each other. A lot of the stuff we do in House of Ra this year is going to be channeled, because we've never ever felt the energy like it is this year. In fact, we're being told this is your first House of Ra. They're saying it's your inauguration, and they're also telling us that your real embodiment will be next year. This year is like the bridge to that. So if any of you guys are ready to fly, ready to open your wings, you're looking for that container that is so sacred, so safe, where you can really make that jump and go through your evolution at a very fast pace, this is a cosmic convergence. House of Ra is that very cosmic convergence, and we cannot wait to meet you. We love you. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity for this beautiful transmission. For any of you who want to check us out, who don't know us, our main websites are nems.love, which is www.nems.love. And we also have www.houseofra.com, where you'll see the tickets available for our Tulum event this April 9th to 14th. It's an Ascension Festival. We're going to be doing so much. We're going to be giving you so many codes, so much coaching.
And whatever healing takes place in House of Ra propagates out to the rest of humanity through the grids and through the crystal land healing that we do.
And everything we do is a lot of fun. It's like in a very abundant setting. We're on the beach. We wake up. We go for a swim in the gorgeous crystalline ocean of Tulum. We come back, and then we do yoga or whatever. And then we have breakfast with the group. And then we start our program at, let's say, 10 or 10:30. And every day the program is different. It's 6 days. So we have a little bit of a program. One day might be a DNA activation or a quantum healing, where we let go of all the density. Another day may be a Christ consciousness activation, where we take you very high. It's on one of the last days. So morning we activate, morning we heal, morning we release, morning we talk, we open our hearts, and in the night we dance. In the night we do cacao ceremonies.
Embody.
In the night we go under the stars and we drink cacao and do musical
and
circles.
Jump in the ocean.
Yeah, last House of Ra, a bunch of us went in the ocean at midnight under a full moon and under
the eclipse.
And there was a moment where there was an eclipse, and like 140 of us out in the ocean. Guys, it's very magical, and I cannot even tell you how freaking exciting we are all feeling to meet so many of you. If you're on that fence, you know why now. You have to choose yourself. This year, it's all about frequency, and you are worth it.
And you are ready.
You are ready. What are you waiting for? You are ready. I love you guys, so much. Bye now.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.